Lesson 1, Intro to Functions homework, we're going to start by comparing the table at the left to the points at the right. And what we want to do is we want to cross out the ordered pairs below, and then this should say that cause the relationship to no longer be a function. Now, if we think back to what we learned in class, the definition of a function is each input has at most or exactly one output. So when we compare it to tables and coordinates, we usually say that x cannot repeat. So that would be kind of our reminder that we have. If we look at the first point, we are only going to be concerned about what is in the x position. And since we do not have a 4 in the x position, we can keep that point. Whereas in the next one, when we highlight or when we underline the number -3 for x, we already have a -3, so therefore that one is going to be eliminated. We already have one with a 0. We do not have one with a 2, so we can keep that. We don't have one with a 10 or a pi. We do have one that already has a 1 in the x position. We do not have one that has a -7, and we also do not have one that has a 1.5. So therefore, those are going to be the only 3 points out of the 9 that we are going to cross out. In our next piece, consider a relation that maps each person to their birth month. Determine if this relationship is a function. Well, if we are mapping each person to their birth month, well, our domain, okay, and actually I'll write it down here, that makes a little bit more sense. Our domain is going to be person, and our range is going to be birth month. So what that does for us is, it tells us where our starting point is, person, and where our ending point is, birth month. Well, I'm pretty sure that each person, our input, can only have at most one birth month. It is not possible for somebody to be born in 2 separate months. So the answer to this question is going to be yes, a person can only be born in 1 month. So therefore, we know that this is going to be a function. Each input is going to have at most 1 output, and exactly 1, because everybody has a birth month. Number 3, Nora says that the graph of a circle is a function because she can trace the whole graph without picking up her pencil. Determine if Nora is correct and explain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a circle on the page here. And now, if we remember when we talked about graphs, usually how we checked is we did the vertical line test. And if we do the vertical line test through this circle, we can see that it has more than 1 intersection point per line. So the answer for Nora is that it's going to be no, she is not correct, because, and we don't want to say because it fails the vertical line test. That's a trick we use, but the actual explanation is going to be there are inputs with multiple outputs. Okay, and that's how we're going to explain why something's not a function. Although the vertical line test is helpful, it does not actually tell us a real explanation. We want to make sure we relate everything back to our statement about a function is each input has at most 1 output. And if you can find a location, such as here and here, where a certain input has more than 1 output, then you know it's not a function. And our last one is, given the relation 823675K4, state 3 values of k that will result in the relation not being a function. So we cannot use the x values already taken. So in that case, that would mean that k cannot equal 8, 3, or 7. And that's how we're going to start with all of our function stuff, and that is the end of lesson 1's homework.